I never had the privilege of a young boy, maybe a young teenager or a grown-up boy, and say, okay, look, have a friend where I can go and play football, play with them. I never had that opportunity. I was born into struggling and making business, making money, knowing how to make money. I hawk practically on the street, and I sell everything. We sell bean cake, I sell bread, I sell scarf, I sell clothes, children clothes. I'll give my mom the credits of her being an entrepreneur. Then I used to be in the movie industry. As a supporting role. I also do printing by the side. So the man approached me. I said, okay, he wants to do some printing work. I said, no, I can do the printing. Give me the job. So when he gave me the documents, I look at the good documents. I try to make corrections. I do some editing. Internet was not that popular. There's, of course, no Google, no ChatGPT or whatever. He said, oh, Victor, go and type it. So I went to a business center. I typed it. He said I should try and get it designed. I designed it. After designing it, he collected the brochure from me. Yeah, about 3 months later, he called me, say, Victor, there's a training program coming up at Gateway Hotel in Lagos, and I want you to be in attendance. So I went there. Then I saw the brochure was the brochure I designed for him that I developed.
Oh, great.
3 months ago. 4 days later, he called me and said, oh, Victor, we are done with the training. We made so amount of money, and your share is 150,000 naira. See, that's the first time I've seen that amount of money. I talked about 28 years ago. Yeah, I said, okay, look, Victor, I think this is your career. You can make career out of this. And that's how I started.
Well, welcome to Unpacking the Isle of Man. Today is a very auspicious podcast because I've got inspiration behind the podcast and the owner of Unpacking the Isle of Man, Mr. Victor Walsh. Mr. Victor, I want to start by asking you a couple of questions to go way back.
Mm-hmm.
So just tell me, You've been very successful with a number of different businesses in a number of different sectors in a number of different countries. Where did it all start?
Okay. Thank you for having me on the show. I think it started in 1998. Oh yeah, 1998. Yeah, I remember 1998, February 1998. I used to be in the movie industry as a supporting role, production level. And there was this guy, I used to be an assistant to him. I also do printing by the side. So the man approached me. I said, okay, he wants to do some printing work. I said, no, I can do the printing. Give me the job. So when he gave me the documents, I look at the good documents. I try to make corrections. I do some editing. Then I return it back to him. I was like, oh, you can edit, you can make corrections. I said, yes, I can do it. Then I printed the brochure. I gave him the brochure. Then he came back again. I did the same thing. Came back again. Then he will give me little money. So one of these he came. I said, Victor, I want to do something on industrial relations. I will give you this topic. Can you develop this topic? I said, yes, give me the topic. Then internet was not that popular. There's, of course, no Google, no ChatGPT or whatever. So he gave me the topic. I went to University of Lagos Library. That time, I got some books on industrial relations, labor law, blah, blah, blah. So I developed the program. And I gave it to him, handwritten. He said, oh, Victor, go and type it. So I went to a business center. I typed it. He said I should try and get it designed. I designed it. After designing it, he collected the brochure from me. And that was all. Then about 3 months later, he called me, said, Victor, there's a training program coming up at Gateway Hotel in Lagos. And I want you to be in attendance. So I went there. I saw about 36 people in attendance. Then I saw the brochure was the brochure I designed for him that I developed.
Oh, great.
3 months ago. And he said, okay, Victor, I just need you to sit down here on the table. But meanwhile, from time to time, enter the hall and listen to what they were saying. We finished the program. 4 days later, he called me. I said, oh, Victor, we are done with the training. We made so amount of money. And your share is 150,000 naira. That was then. I talked about 28 years ago. I was 150,000. I said, for what? He said, oh, Victor, you were the one that developed the topic. I printed it for you and I marketed it. I distributed it among agencies, private sector, public sector organization. And this number of people that came was as a result of this project that you developed, this topic that I developed. I turned it into a brochure for you and you gave me the money. I was so excited. That's the first time I've seen that amount of money. I said, okay, look, Victor, I think this is your career. You can make career out of this. And that's how I started.
That's a great story.
But before I went into this, I used to work with my mom and my dad. I know a bit of photography.
Okay.
I know a bit of photography. So I also know about my mother used to be a seamstress. So I know how to cut, I know how to sew, all those kind of things and all that. So
Yeah.
I would say I was born an entrepreneur because of my mom. Because under my mom, I sell everything. I sell everything. We sell bean cake, I sell bread, I sell scarf, I sell clothes, children clothes. I hawk practically on the street,
Good.
and I did that. I never had the opportunity, the privilege of a young boy, maybe a young teenager or a grown-up boy, and say, okay, look, have a friend where I can go and play football, play with them. I never had that opportunity. I was born into struggling and making business, making money, knowing how to make money. I'll give my mom the credits of her being an entrepreneur. So, and from there, I moved into this training. And when I moved into training, I dropped acting, I dropped every other thing. I became focused on the training since February 1998 till that year.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about what you managed to achieve with the training work that you've been doing and the big training center and everything you've done under that umbrella of training.
Yeah, it has been very, very challenging, I must say. And it has gone beyond training. It has gone to policy study research. It has gone to consultancy at the highest level of government. I consult for key agencies of government. I currently still consult for key government departments in the parliament as well, especially in National Assembly in Nigeria. I've had opportunities to consult for some government in Kenya, and at the time I was consultant to the government of Gambia on investment promotion. I'm very, very good in sourcing for investment, knowing how to identify area for investment. I also have a very strong background in advising government on how they can carve the ordinary in them to extraordinary. So, and we have institute in South Africa. We have institute here in the Isle of Man, which is Dr. Development Institute. And we have a development center in Nigeria, and we have a couple of centers as well. And in 4 years ago, we were into media. We are very strong in media. We have We have 2 radio stations in Nigeria, and one of the radio stations was named after the island. It's called the Isle FM 95.9, and also have a radio license in Kano, in the city, one of the populated city in the northern part of Nigeria. We call it Kaswa FM. We currently have we have a TV station in Lagos. We already applied for, we have another TV license in Abuja as well, the Abuja capital. Currently, our project is about 90% completion for one of the ultra-modern TV stations that we have in Sub-Saharan Africa, which we are currently building as I speak to you, where we'll be launching our media headquarters for all the TV and radio stations. I also have application for about 13 to 14 radio stations, again, under the government of Nigeria. So we have interest in TV, in media, also have interest in movie. We are building our platform for a strong microdrama industry. And I think pretty much that is all. And along the line, I build my own framework, which I produce. I try to market to the government. I call it policy as a platform and result as a service, where we can make government, automate government, and see how we can strengthen performance in government and how government can take advantage of AI to do things much better. We'll try to see how we can deploy policy as a platform and result as a service into the government platform. We have approached the African peer review in South Africa, and went to their head office sometimes last year alongside with my friend, professor friend of mine, who approached the African peer review mechanism through the AU through the APRM, and see how the PAAP can be adopted by government across Africa.
Okay, so that's some really meaningful work and shows your heart as well. I really interested talking to you earlier about your plans for the future and how you see things developing. I know you've been on your travels. I've said about your international business, and clearly your horizons are never shortened by geography or by business sector. So I'm really keen to give you a little bit of a chance to tell me where you think things are are likely to evolve for you over the next, say, 5 years?
Yeah, in the next 5 years is to consolidate all our companies into a group. We try to do that as fast as possible, and also try to see how we have one of the biggest property here on the island, where it's going to house our headquarters. Currently, our headquarters is here, but we want to see how every revenue operations of the organization is consolidated to a single platform, into an holding company. I want to make the Isle of Man our headquarters for that. So we're looking at acquiring very, very big property that we use, or build our own property for the future, a sustainable property, to see how that can be done. Also, we are going to be strong in media, movie production. I want to be the leading and the biggest media platform on the continent of Africa. And we opened our China office in Guangzhou sometimes November last year. So we're also going to a bit of verification services for goods that are manufactured in China. We are setting up a company where we handle verification for key manufacturing product that goes from China to Africa. Because we also identified that Africa is a dumping ground for fake goods. And Nigeria is taking the leading role in that aspect. So we want to see how we can... we already set up the company, but we're working with the government as a regulatory body to see how goods are manufactured in China, in Turkey, in England, or anywhere in the world that goes to Africa, must go through this application process, verification processes. We want to be the eye of government of Africa, any African countries in China, especially China, because we know that for the EU and Europe, America, when goods are manufactured here to a reasonable extent, you know that these are original products.
Yes.
So it shouldn't be a fake product. So we are big. We are planning big. We are trying to see how we can catch the ordinary, not extraordinary.
No, it's a really exciting future. And for the short time that I've known you, the ride has been exhilarating, I have to say.
Yeah.
And I think what you've achieved has been something that has really been seen. You very kindly invited me to go along to an event that you were holding.
Yes, it's
for awards in Paris.
award.
You want to talk about that? Those awards, that was lovely.
Yeah.
Inspiring.
So our first award event was sometimes in 2015. 2015 Dubai, the Mi Africa Award. They are the Middle East Africa Development Award, and at the event we had about 12 countries in attendance. Kenyan government was there, represented by the ambassador. We had the foreign affairs from Angola, from DRC Congo. We had about 5 governors. The current Senate president in Nigeria was represented. One of the prominent political figure, Rabbi Musa Kwankwaso, also, and we had the Minister for Internal Affairs or Foreign Affairs from the UAE also in attendance. We got a representative from Mutalab, I can't remember his full name, from Saudi Arabia, and a whole lot of people in attendance. So when I said, okay, look, we need to create more of these events, see how we can make it possible. That's what came about the one we had in Paris. The one in Paris, we had people from about 4 or 5 governors from Egypt. We are from Nigeria, from Kenya as well.
Yeah.
And so this year we plan to escalate it and attract more people to be part of it, because when you do celebrate people, we celebrate them. So identify those who are succeeding, those who have made it, those who are working with little resources, little or no resources, those who are making impact with the little that they have. We want to see how they can be recognized. So we call it the People Choice Awards.
I think as somebody that was able to go and talk to some of the very eminent politicians who came from Kenya, as you say, and from Egypt, and their reaction to the recognition and to the whole ability as well to network, which you provided for them, I thought it was one of the standout moments for me from last year. And so I congratulate you on that. It was excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
So looking at the Isle of Man itself, do you want to talk a little bit about the Isle of Man and how you find some of the people? Your chance to say how nice I am, and no, but just to talk a little bit about kind of your journey.
I think Isle of Man is the reason why we are here. Is the reason why we're having a podcast. And I saw if we don't promote Isle of Man, who will promote Isle of Man? It's not Isle of Man, the Wales.
Right.
So they ask me, why Isle of Man? I say, why not Isle of Man? Ask the person back. Say, why Isle of Man? Why not Isle of Man? I say, why Isle of Man? I say, why not Isle of Man? Because I always like it quiet. I love the environment. I love anywhere I live. That's always been myself, my family. It has always been a quiet neighborhood for us. And so Isle of Man was an ideal location for us. We found it an ideal location to move to. And so I did my research before coming here. So because I've had the opportunity to live in other countries like Paris, France, Dubai, and so I have multiple residences. So when it comes to settling down, it's always, where am I going to stay? Where will it be comfortable for the family? Where will it be a suitable place? And Isle of Man we searched for it, we found it, and we find it an ideal location for us to stay, and we'll be here, and it has been wonderful since we're moving here. I tell people, always try to make an impression, positive impression. Always try to add value. Government cannot do everything. We live in a world where people expect so much from the government, and yet we contribute less. So for me, I believe it is important that no matter how small it is, if there's any way we can add value to the government, we should try to support the government. So one of the ways we can do that is to see how we can sell our stories to people who don't know about us, people who don't believe in the Isle of Man, people who have a mindset or the kind of name they attach to the island, to know that this place is an ideal location for them to live, make money, raise their family, have peace of mind, no fear that somebody will come and steal your car. We don't lock our doors, we don't lock our cars. I remember when we were living yesterday, I said, just leave the door open like that. And I can tell you, in the last 4 or 5 days, the door has been open. No, we have not been locking it. All the equipment are here. And that's the level of peace of mind you have.
Absolutely.
And you can imagine you go home and at night and you don't have that fear that you're going to be harassed by police, or maybe your child is coming back home late and you don't have that fear that somebody's going to kidnap him or her or rape that person or something terrible is going to happen. Imagine living in a society where the crime rate is very, very low. So there's a whole lot of opportunities in there, and we felt, okay, the podcast will go a long way to help the government to add value, to let people know what the island is all about. Because when you go make speech, they say, oh, don't mind them, it's propaganda, it's curated and all that. We say, okay, look, these are not curated speeches. These are not curated interviews. There are people who speak their minds.
That's
like,
right.
hey, mine is not created. You are not endorsed by government. You are not paid by government.
Absolutely.
So you won't say, okay, because it's government. No. It's a simple truth. I say, telling you that you can come around, you can come and live in here. You will enjoy it here on the island. So thank you very much.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And it's certainly been good for those of us who've been able to do business with you, and for those of us who have seen your passion and your determination to succeed despite differences in culture that you've come across here, where you said to me, okay, if it's like that, then we can help this way.
Yeah, that's one of the major. I plan for the unthinkable. Very, very important. So when I have this plan on my left hand, I have another one on my right hand. I have another one on my left hand. I also create room for strategic thinking. I'm not a rigid person. So even my staff, they are very, very much aware of that, okay, your guy is flexible, but very, very strategic. I don't say, okay, this is what I want to do, and I get stick to it. I say, okay, I'm not going to move. So I know when I've made mistakes. I know when to withdraw and do it again all over again. We have come, you have spent so amount of money. That's not enough for us to stick there and continue to spend the money. Are you getting me? So if the money you are spending will not take me, if I'm spending that money, I know the money is not going to take me to any successful route, then I will pull out. I wouldn't mind the investment. But if I know that, okay, look, if I'm convinced that this project I'm involved in is going to lead me to something very, very meaningful, I'm moving there. So when I came here, one of the first things I see is a shock. So I've been able to do business in England successfully, and I found out that the approach was quite different here. So it's a bit slow. So I found out that my energy was So what I did was to reprogram myself and slow down. You get me? Also reprogram myself and slow down. I said, well, Victor, you need to, this is not Dubai, this is not England, this is not South Africa. You need to slow down and look at things differently. So I started looking inwards. I need to understand my team, my caseworker. His name is Brian. He's a very wonderful guy. And he was trying to navigate and say, okay, Victor, this is how you need to do this. This is how you need to do that. At the time I was like, no, I need to do this. I've done this before. But you take it easy. You say, Victor, I know, but this is how you need to do this. This is how you need to do that. And but the fact that I've been an entrepreneur all my life, I looked inward. I also did a critical analysis of all the meetings I've had with him and some other people, and the interaction, of course, with you played a very, very important role as well. I said, okay, that's true. You need to slow down. You need to look inward. You need to stay more focused. You need to understand the environment. The regulatory environment also is very, very important. You need to understand why certain things will not work the way you want it to be. If there's any way you can replace it, get those things replaced. You get me? You need to stop the blaming game, and see how you can re-strategize and reposition yourself for what you're looking for. And I was able to conquer that.
Yeah.
So I would say to a reasonable extent, because you learn every day.
Yeah.
To a reasonable extent, I've learned a lot, and I'm now repositioning myself for greater heights. And ultimately, I look at myself in the next 5 years be a major player in the private sector, and also someone who will be helping the government for growth. I passionately interested in see how I can contribute my level of knowledge and exposure in the governance process of the country, of the island, and see how I can support, add value, an advisory role, and when such opportunity exists.
That's great. I'm just reminded of that fable, the hare and the tortoise. And he has time, he has a nap, and then while he sleeps, the tortoise pods past him and wins. Now, a lot of people say, that shows better to be slow than to be fast. It doesn't. It shows that to be steadfast is how you win. And I think I see you as a hare and tortoise. So you're able to run and be steadfast. And I think that's how I would wrap up today and say, keep moving fast.
Yeah, thank you.
But be an inspiration to those that you come into business with and to touch with, because you're steadfast as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for doing this and to investing the time and the resources in doing it.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to know.
Thank you.
God bless.
Yeah.